In today's Dino Pup news, I was going to do a review today, but as you can see, there's another clip to look at. They just keep on coming. This one is a whole sequence. It's one that I think you can guess from what you see behind me. It's Rex taking point as they deploy on the Leaf gliders. Let's watch.
If you really want to see Dino Island, there's only one way to do it.
So cute. Let's have a look at Rex there. I don't think I've actually mentioned, for a while at least, that I really like how Hayden Chamberlain is voicing Rex. He sounds very, very sweet. Maybe a little younger than the rest of the group, but I also think that kind of makes sense. But he's got a very kind of nice balance between sounding like a pleasant young boy and having just a little bit of sass. As you can hear right here, where he's got a little bit of a challenging tone to his voice.
If you really want to see Dino Island, there's only one way to do it.
I also really like the animation there of how much weight you can tell the little wheelchair has. Well, wheeled walker, we should say technically. It clearly doesn't weigh much at all, but I just really like how he can kind of pick it up himself and move it to the other side of his body in order to turn around. I think that's really nice.
If you really want to see Dino Island, there's only one way to do it. You want to go for a ride?
So we've heard that little voice clip before. This is the part where I have previously expressed some concern that he sounds a little bit cocky here, but like I just said before, I think the performance nicely balances, sounding a little bit confident, but also quite sweet. So he's not quite triggering that part of my brain that gets really annoyed when heroes are too cocky and don't kind of get undermined in some way. I think this is a nice frame to have frozen on. Look at the detail on the back of his little head, and of course the other pups looking down. Everyone has black paw pads in the movies. We've talked about that before. Instead of the pink on the shows. It's just preference, I guess. So, he's got a kind of crazy level of control of this leaf. He can just toss it in the air and kind of knows it'll stay there in order for him to grab it as he goes backwards. He would, of course, die a horrible death if this went wrong, which is kind of where it gets a little bit irritating in my view, but he, this is his whole life, I guess, so we can accept he's just very good at this.
Something about you got me.
So I suspect this is where we hear Bottle Up in the actual movie. I kind of think that it will play over this whole spectacular, kind of triumphant sequence as they kind of glide over the whole island, take in the vista, see some of the key points that will become important later in the story, and of course, look at a lot of dinosaurs from above. We've seen most of these shots from now, but it's nice to see them in sequence.
Like lightning struck my to the room, get out.
So this one of Sky following after Rex, we just saw yesterday in the Billy Billy clip. It's still not the greatest quality, but I maintain that in the movie theater, this is going to be a really spectacular shot. All this we've seen. Okay, this we haven't seen. Well, we saw the beginning of this shot, and then it cut around here. So yeah, we see the Triceratops herd walking towards a watering hole. Compared with like the game, there are a lot more trees in on the island. I think it's obviously when it's a game you need things to be a lot clearer to run around in, but it's much more densely forested than in the movie, which makes sense. And you can see the kind of rainforest mist effects they're going for giving it the impression of that kind of climate. And yeah, all the pups perfectly confident, gliding, hanging by just a little bit of a vine attached to a leaf, I guess. No sign of Ryder yet.
Check it out!
Oh, well, I guess. Is that the first you actually see of him Because we don't see him as one of these guys, unless, I mean, this may not be how it is actually cut in the movie, though I kind of suspect it is, because it would be kind of weird to show the whole sequence but not the actual sequence. So I think it might be kind of a little bit of a surprise that Ryder is actually there with them. I mean, he's in this shot, but obviously you can't tell when they're just little dots. So yeah, no sign of him in this shot, and then he's just kind of behind them. Okay, I mean that's fine, isn't it? That makes sense. This is a new shot to us, though. Let's hear what Marshall says.
Triceratops!
Aw, he can identify the Triceratops. Unlike me, I called the Triceratops Stegosaurus in a previous video. I can't actually identify Triceratops, though. It was just a little bit of a slip. Anyway, yep, I think the enthusiasm in the voice, very cute. Everything about this sequence I like. I like the visuals. I like how conceptually it's kind of a great way of delivering exposition while also delivering spectacle and likable character moments. So everything's working for me. Although, I've never liked the Bottle Up instrumental, and once it gets a little bit kind of bubblegum poppy, I kind of wish for that thumping rearrangement they did for the trailers. Okay, this might be where we see whether Ryder's going off course is intentional, and kind of him showing off his great control of this makeshift hang glider, or whether he's kind of in trouble. He looks like he's in trouble from here, but I thought I heard a woohoo, so let's see. Okay, now I do think maybe this is just cut up, because we saw Ryder kind of swooping very close to the ground in a previous set of clips, and that very clearly looked like that's what he was going to do. So this cut doesn't make sense otherwise. You wouldn't show him going off on his own in a different direction, and looking worried, I should note. Definitely looks a little bit scared about what's going to happen, and then cut to just them back in formation, because, yeah, that would make the intentionality of this shot kind of nonsensical. So I'm guessing this is not actually the entire sequence in order, and we may well have seen Ryder being part of this, and maybe like the pups getting the leaves instead of just spawning into this. Oh, you can see Ryder preparing to join them if you look very carefully in this corner here. So yeah, I don't think this is the entire sequence after all. So let's continue. See the seams of the crystal den here. There's lots of diamonds here for Humdinger to extract, and also the breeding ground of the Mahakala. So they're all kind of tucked away inside the crystals. I like how it looks like seams here. In other depictions, we haven't been able to make this out. So this is the first time we're seeing how this actually looks on this mountainside. Although we do know that, Zuma's about to say hello to the little dudes. We've seen that clip. But not these joining shots. Right now, take this moment. Here we go. So there we go, this is what I was talking about, but listening to Bottle Up there, and thinking about how the sequence is probably not in order, I'm second-guessing myself. I don't actually think Bottle Up will play here. It may, but it doesn't quite feel like it's fitting. That might just be my personal kind of taste, though. We'll see.
Hey, little dude!
And that's where it ends. I just want to see Rex's feat of strength here. So we know he goes down backwards, just hanging on with one paw. Reckless little guy. And then he's got the upper body strength to swing himself around and pull himself up. I mean, he's a puppy. He doesn't weigh very much at all. But I I think they're kind of cheating it a little showing that being an easy thing for him to do. Anyway, it's not a big deal. The point is they get into their leaf gliders, and it's a very adorable sequence. Oh, and I've just seen that right alongside the clip we've just looked at, the character posters for all the humans have been revealed, which will confirm some bits and pieces. Also, probably give us some character names. So, let's start with Terry Crews as Alistair Stonewall. I see not every character's name is actually going to be there, so we may not learn quite as much as I was hoping, but yes, this is Terry Crews as Alistair Stonewall, the demolitions expert who blows things up with dynamite. Well, I say expert. That might just be my assumption. Next is Snoop Dogg. No character name, so as far as we know, this is just the guy who's on the boat. The captain, maybe, or he could just be on a pleasure cruise. So yeah, no update there, but a new visual. Paris Hilton also doesn't have a name. Maybe I was assuming I clicked on Theo Rising's character and it actually gave the name, so I thought that would be the case for all of them, but maybe not. So we don't know what Paris Hilton's character's name is here. It says she's bringing the heat, and the cat is called, what was it, Mr. Snuggle Buns, Mr. Fluffy Buns. Next, Jennifer Hudson as, what was her name? Lillian Leeds. She looks a few foundation shades different from in the movie here, which is a little bit odd to me, but okay. We'll just call it lighting. She's... Does that say Adventure City News or Adventure Bay News? I assume that's Adventure City News instead of Adventure Bay News. Yeah, I think that's what it says here. Okay, next, Jamila Jamil, of course, as Heidi Hypothesis, the silly little joke based on the word hypothesis. Nothing new here. She's on board and ready to explore. Okay, so another fairly nice character image. The hand, I think, looks a little bit uncannily real compared to everything else. Her hand is freaking me out just slightly. Next, Eugenia Bunsen. That's new. We've only had her name as Eugenia up till now. We now know it's Eugenia Bunsen, presumably as in Bunsen burner. She's got all of her usual journals and scrolls that I assume are maps or, technical drawings, but we don't actually know. So, yeah. Her hands are extremely tiny compared to the rest of her body, but not freaking me out like Heidi's did. Bill Nye, as we see, he is indeed Dr. Theo Rising. I'm glad I worked that out correctly. If you recall, we saw in the Japanese press release that there was a character called Dr. I think it was Theo Rising. And you can't necessarily tell that Theo Rising is supposed to be Theo Rising, but after connecting some dots, we figured it out. And yes, as expected, this is Bill Nye. So, something that we inferred but never had confirmation for, but now we know. Next, Meredith McNeil as Harper. Aha! You see, it's Harper Cutlass. We heard about this character from Brazil, and there the character was called Harper Cutelo, which means like meat cleaver. So I was speculating she might be Harper Cleaver or Harper Butcher. It's actually Harper Cutlass, which is a more kind of pirate idea. It's usually pirates who use cutlasses, so a bit of a different vibe from what I got from Harper Cutelo. Good to know. And yes, it's Meredith McNeil. We haven't had any confirmation of that. It's kind of been the clear assumption based on kind of matching the character's look to who was announced on the cast, but we hadn't matched to a character, so we were assuming this was Meredith McNeil, but this is actually the first confirmation. Alright, next, this character we only heard about very recently, again from the Japanese press release. This is Dustin, the social media obsessed teen, and I think from a recent image, a recent clip, almost certainly Snoop Dogg's character's son. possibly also Paris Hilton's son, Paris Hilton's character's son, depending on if it's just all one family. That's something that seems likely, but we can't necessarily assume. So yeah, Darius Willis, who we saw on listed on IMDb, is playing Dustin. All right, moving on. Oh, is that it? Okay, so the other sibling, there's 4 people on the boat. There's Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, Darius Willis, and then there's a girl that I guess is the daughter, if it's all a big family, or could be, Paris Hilton's daughter, and this is Snoop Dogg's son. We have to make some assumptions. But yeah, there's a girl on the boat as well, and we're not getting any info about her. Okay, so we learned a few new bits and pieces here, but mostly this is just confirming what we managed to work out. And working stuff out like that is fun. Snoop Dogg we heard in the trailer. Paris Hilton, we just looked at the character and we could assume that was almost certainly her. These two we had the wrong way around for a long time. Jamila Jamil's character, Heidi, seemed to be the more prominent and significant one, and Hudson and Fortune Feimster were announced at the same time. So since these two are always together, I was always assuming that Jennifer Hudson was playing Heidi, but actually she's playing Lillian, and it's Jamila Jamil playing Heidi. Now we know. Bill Nye we worked out from his character appearing in the books with a medical box, and hearing the character's name and the fact that he's a kind of bumbling scientist who may or may not get much right, in a Japanese press release. Harper we heard from as Harper Cutello from Brazil, and then now we're learning she's Harper Cutlass, and just kind of by process of elimination, we figured out it was Meredith McNeil, and then Darius Willis was listed as Dustin on the on IMDb. So while IMDb is definitely unreliable, we just had a bit of a situation where people were assuming a very silly made-up episode title was actually real because it was put on IMDb, but in this case it was genuine, and yeah, we learned who this character was again through that Japanese press release. Okay, so that's about it. Let me know what you think about this little sequence as well. Click here for the reaction of another clip that I put together just this morning, or click here for the reactions to 2 longer sequences we had a few days ago. That's all for today though, and I'll see you guys again next time.